Cubs have had a bad few weeks, maybe longer than that, and they're looking for a deal. They have to be, right? How can they fix this roster? How can they get things turned around? We're going to talk about that. Who would you move on this Cubs team? And don't put it on Willie Harris. I'm going to tell you why I don't care that Nick Madrigal got thrown out at the plate. We're going to get into that and talk a little bit of Cubs and Reds right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Let's get this thing going here. And I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Everybody, it's Mick Gillespie. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball channel at Broadcaster Mick. And the banner popped up there. At Broadcaster Mick on the socials. And we want to get into some stuff. Hey, I'm got my tie-dye on. I'm looking for a change of momentum. I want to see this team get back on track. And I know a lot of you guys have as well. And let me throw it up there. Looking for a deal. Are the Cubs looking for a deal right now? I think they are. I think that they're searching everywhere they can to possibly help this team and fix this roster. But right now, there's so many issues. I don't know if it's one or two players that can make a difference if the guys that they have on the team don't start performing. And I'm not talking about one game here and one game there. I mean, on a regular basis. They need to get production from Christopher Morel. They need to get production from Cody Bellinger. They need production from Seiya Suzuki. It's been good to see Ian Happ getting back into the swing of things. They've got nothing out of their catchers at all with the bat. Michael Busch out of the lineup continuously. You know, what's going to happen there? Are the Cubs players for Pete Alonso? Who would you give up for Pete Alonso with the Mets having all the problems that they've had? Now, those are all questions that I think are realistic. And the other thing for the Cubs, too, is that they do have one of the best farm systems in baseball. But how willing are you to trade away that talent? You got to balance it like the Dodgers. You see the Dodgers make trades. You know, they traded for Manny Machado, a few years ago before he signed with the Padres. They make deals at the deadline, but they don't give up the difference makers. They don't give up the guys that are going to be on the big league roster contributing, down the line. They seem to give up guys that, okay, you know what, this guy can play, he's got value, but they are really good at self-evaluating. So they can kind of balance that where they're not the Yankees trading away their best prospects to try to win now. They're trading away some of their good prospects, and they continually bring up young players that help the big league roster. And I'm talking about guys like Owen Casey. He hit another home run yesterday. I don't think that it would be a smart move to trade Owen Casey. Would you trade James Triantos, one of the best contact hitters in the organization? Maybe. I don't know, though. I mean, it depends on what you think. Would Matt Shaw be a guy you would, trade at this point? A lot of value. Could you make a move there? What about some of your pitchers? Those are all questions that the Cubs have to ask. But the bottom line is this: the season is in the balance right now. I mean, you feel the momentum going the wrong direction. They're having trouble on a regular basis scoring, hitting with runners in scoring position, getting production. Every win that they have seems like it's they've got to scratch and claw to get there. When a team's good, they win games because they just win games because they're better, because they don't have to scratch out every single win. Some of them are, are games that you do, but a lot of them are games you just play good games and you beat the opposition. The good thing for the Cubs is that the starting pitching has been so solid on, a regular basis that you're just trying to fix the bullpen and you're trying to fix the bench. And I think that that's where I would start if I was the Cubs. And I'd probably look internally. You've got guys in your system. Frankie Scalzo Jr. has been just absolutely dominating in Double-A. There's a bunch of guys who, between Double and Triple-A, could give you some options at the big league level. The problem is obviously the 40-man roster. The other thing is, though, how willing and long are you going to hang on to some of these guys? And when you see Estrada on the Padres, you just gave up one of the best relievers in baseball because you didn't have a spot, right? And now this guy's like striking out 13 guys in a row. You take a risk, but at the same time, the way that the team is pitching out of that bullpen right now, you got a 40-man roster and you got a lot of other guys in the organization. You can't tell me that there's not other guys that are in relief that can't come up there and help you get some outs. So who would you move? Well, I think that I think that the verdict's in on Nick Madrigal. Yeah, I just do. I think it's over. I think that it's time to move him out. I'd use that roster spot for guys that are in the organization. I'd rather have Luis Vasquez in the big leagues than Nick Madrigal. If I need a guy to come in and play defense, he can do that. The weak contact outs, I think that it's just over. I think Cubs fans are tired of it. He used to be a really good player. He had a bad injury. And that kind of leads me into my point about Willie Harris waving him in on Friday and he gets thrown out at the plate, right? And Willie Harris has taken a lot of heat. Was it a bad send? Yeah. And I've read all the comments, about Willie Harris. Look, some of you guys agree with what I'm going to say. The way that this team's been hitting, you want to do something to be aggressive and make them make a play. I was just surprised at just how, moderately fast Madrigal is. Don't you think that would be a guy that would be faster than that from first to third? I mean, I know he's not Pete Crow-Armstrong, but I don't know. I don't mind Willie Harris trying to do something because he's watched this offense too. He's seen the same thing that we've seen. It's that these guys just aren't hitting. And you got a chance on that to tie the game. Would you rather have the guy standing at third when you get out to lose the game, or would you rather get him thrown out at the plate? And if it works, it's great. And if it's not, and it doesn't work out, then, obviously that's what happened. But, I think Willie Harris does a pretty good job at third base. And I'm as frustrated as he is watching the offense leave runners on base over and over and over and over again. So I was disappointed in the way the play turned out, but I was never looking at him and thinking, hey, this is your fault. And I'm thinking this is the fault of a team that just can't seem to ever figure it out, at least over the last, 3 weeks. And no one seems to be hitting. I know you have the heart of your lineup up there, but when's the last time these guys have really delivered on a regular basis? You had a chance. Guy's arm's not that great. They had a perfect relay and they threw him out and he was out by a mile. So that's where we are right now. And just reading the comments, I just wanted to kind of jump in and tell you guys what I think. Is there someone that's going to get healthy that's going to jump up and help this team that's on the IL? Daniel Palencia, maybe, Julian Merryweather, who had the rib stress fracture, starting to throw some, but he's not even going to come back until July. And who knows if he's going to be as dominant as he was last year. And how many of those guys in the bullpen do you throw out there and go, okay, I'm really comfortable with this guy? Yancy Almonte, Adbert Alzolay on the IL, Colton Brewer on the IL, but really he was a minor leaguer that was just called up. Daniel Palencia, I think he's getting close. Keegan Thompson on the IL, Jordan Wicks on the IL. I think Jordan Wicks could be a guy that could really come up there and help you. And I do. And some of it's bad luck. But at the same time, some tough decisions have to be made in that bullpen. And I think that the first one is, Kyle Hendricks is probably going to be one of the first guys to go. I mean, when you look at the body of work right now. But that's only going to be one spot. The Cubs need to look within the organization and maybe you take one 40-man spot and start to figure out, who you want to put on there. And I get the game. You don't want to give up talent. If the guy doesn't succeed, he's on the 40-man, you take him off, everybody can get him. I get that. But there's got to be better answers than what we're seeing right now. And is that a trade? How many prospects are you willing to give up to get somebody? And is that somebody in the organization? All right. Cubs and Reds today. That's another day game for the Cubs. They'll wrap up the series with Cincinnati. It'll be Ben Brown on the mound after that long wait last night to play through the rain, a 1-1 record and a 2.72 ERA. Nick Lodolo, who's a really good left-hander, 4-2 with a 3.12 earned run average. All right, thanks for hanging out. Get in the comments section. Tell me what you think. Are you still satisfied with Nick Madrigal? I mean, do you think that him or Patrick Wisdom? I mean, would you move Patrick Wisdom out? It doesn't feel like the Cubs bench is really productive. But is he a guy that you feel like is going to help the team? When you look at the 40-man roster and you see kind of the direction that the Cubs are going, could you make a deal for a catcher? Would you be willing to go out there and wheel and deal to get somebody to come in? And would a team be willing to give up a catcher that could come in and be an impact player on this team? Is Michael Bush starting to top out now? I mean, are we seeing kind of the same thing we saw with Matt Mervis, where he's scuffling to figure out how to hit? There's just so many different questions that the Cubs have to ask as we move forward. It's good to see, some of these guys starting to do some things. What about Brennan Davis? How long is he going to be on the 40-man? We saw what he can do, but at the same time, we also saw that he's gotten hurt again. So all those questions out there, like and subscribe. What about Owen Casey? We're going to hit all these home runs in AAA. I mean, could he hit those in the big leagues for you? All right. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you soon. And again, just watching the game today, trying to figure out what the next thing is for this Cubs team. Go Cubs.